Still sitting in a truck seat that's older than your favorite pair of work boots? Your back has been filing complaints for years. If your seat is worn out, sagging, or just plain uncomfortable, it's time for an upgrade. Head on over to seatspecialist.com. Check out their selection of quality replacement seats built to keep you comfortable mile after mile. And don't forget to use promo code TR10 4U to save 10% on your order. Seatspecialist.com, because a better ride starts with a better seat. Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of That's Delivered. Today, we're diving into a transformative story in the moving and trucking industry. Joining us is an incredible person, Nisrine Masari, founder and CEO of Movers Dispatch Board. With over 20 years of experience, Nisrine has navigated through the moving industry with passion, innovation, and resilience, breaking boundaries as a trailblazing entrepreneur and woman in trucking. Her platform has revolutionized operation for movers nationwide. Welcome, Nisrine. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me on, Ray. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
Yeah, it's great to get the word out there for a lot of our listeners. They move a lot of things, and moving is a huge part of the trucking industry. So just maybe in one word to break the ice, how would you describe your journey in one word, and why would you pick that word?
So I think the one word that I would choose for my journey with Movers Dispatch Board, and honestly, the moving and storage industry has definitely been evolving because it's been ever changing with technology from beginning of my career in moving and storage until where I am today. So I would definitely say it would be evolving for sure because it's been ever changing with the way things have changed from starting until today.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely have to adapt. Being in business, kind of putting things together as they're being thrown at you. So evolving.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So, the way we did things 20 years ago is different than when we do, how we're doing things today. And I think that being an entrepreneur and someone in business, you always have to be able to adapt to changes, whether it be with technology, the way things are being done. Things are always changing. So you have to be able to adapt to change and not be set in a mindset where you're continuously doing the same thing over and over again. So it's always evolving and changing. So that's kind of my one word.
I feel that. I feel that same thing. I echo those words because when I first started the podcast, I did things that I look back at some emails and a form of communication. I'm like, man, I did it that way. It's like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And you constantly have to learn new technology, new things that are out there, new tools that can enhance what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So I'm continuously educating myself I listen to other podcasts and do a lot of external research on how I can improve my business. So I'm not set in this one mindset where I think that my way is the right way all the time because, I look at other companies that are super successful and the way they're doing things and kind of just learn from proven models that are out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you founded a moving company in 2003. Kind of sparked, the interest for our listeners to say, hey, what is Movers Dispatch Board? What inspired you to take that leap into entrepreneurship?
So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. Both my parents owned their own businesses. So I really kind of grew up in that whole environment of being an entrepreneur. And that was kind of the dream when my family moved to the States, is that you own your own business. And eventually I knew that I would be in business for myself. I just didn't really know what business that would be. I have so many different interests and passions and happened to just kind of fall into the trucking industry. Initially, in my initial part of my career, I was in the third party logistics and trucking. And so that's kind of what I did initially. And then from there, started a moving company with my current partner for a company called Condor Moving Systems. And we've been in business for 22 years this February. And about, let's say, almost 2 years ago, I could kind of seen a need for developing Movers Dispatch Board. I had seen an opportunity and a really kind of more of a need it was more of a need base versus a financial opportunity starting Movers Dispatch Board, but just kind of thought, hey, this would be really neat if we had this in the moving and storage industry, which we didn't. And that's about 2 years ago, I decided to just kind of take the leap and decide, I'm going to go ahead and develop this, and kind of went with it. So that was kind of my journey as far as um, beginning in the moving and storage, and then seeing a need and an opportunity and developing Movers Dispatch Board.
Nice. I'm curious, how did you get into trucking?
So honestly, my skill set is sales, and I was looking for an opportunity in sales at the time. Prior to working for the 3PL, I worked for a construction company doing sales for them, and was looking just for a sales opportunity. And this 3PL company had an opportunity in sales, and so I applied for that. And that's kind of how I got into the sales, or got into moving and or trucking. And then my partner wanted to start a moving company at the time. Him and I were dating, and he had asked if I would, go in with him on a moving company. And I said, I do have sales experience. I'm really good in sales. Why not? I have some trucking behind me. And that's kind of how the whole thing started and came about.
So your partner is your husband?
Not anymore. He was, but not anymore. So for the moving company, he is my partner, but on Movers Dispatch Board, I'm the sole owner for that company.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, because I was thinking, man, around that same time, 2003, I was, me and my wife, we were married in 2004. So I was thinking, man, 22 years. I was like, yeah, that's that's a long time for,
Yeah, that's
this.
definitely a long time. But I still work with him. We're not married, and but we still work together. And that's kind of a whole other, interesting topic. Everyone's like, wow, you work with your ex-husband. And yeah, we do work together for that company, but it works. So
And that's great when you can keep the good part of the relationship going, you know,
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we make good partners, so and there was no reason to ruin that part of it.
right? Right, absolutely. So man, you're inspiring a lot of people when you take a leap into the entrepreneurship, or actually you've already been into it for quite some time. You're showing people that it is possible, that it can happen, especially in the trucking and moving industry. It can be incredibly challenging to navigate. What gaps or pain points did you notice early on that motivate you to create the Movers Dispatch Board? I know you said it was a need, but what was the highlights that you can share with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing with the moving and storage industry is if you're privately owned and not part of a van line, you don't really have a network or a connection with other movers to interline loads. So meaning that if you're a company based out of Texas, for example, and you've got loads going to North Dakota and they're LTL, you typically don't have a way to interline with another moving company, or if you're not van line affiliated. And so what Movers Dispatch Board, it gives you the opportunity to interline loads. So for example, if I'm a mover out of Texas and I've got a shipment going to North Dakota that's only 200 cubic feet, 1,400 pounds, I'm more than likely may not want to run my own truck up to North Dakota to deliver a 200 cubic feet. So what you're able to do is post it on Movers Dispatch Board. You've already done origin services that's holding at your facility. And so at that point, you can interline the load with another carrier or a moving company that's licensed to haul household goods that would do the destination services. So they'd load it from your facility and then deliver to the client in North Dakota because they already had a truck running there. The other way that it can help out is in a situation where a driver is going to, let's say, drivers running through Dallas because they had loads that they unloaded. So what they could do is post their truck on the board to say, hey, I've got a truck in Dallas that'll be there in about, between the 5th and the 17th with 1,000 cubic feet open. And then any moving company who's got, loads that they want to haul, they can contact that driver to let them know that they have available loads. We just released our load matching AI on our load board this past Friday. And so how that'll work is if you post a truck or a load, our system will automatically match trucks or loads for you. So if you post a truck, we'll match loads based on where you're going. And then if you are posting a load, we'll match trucks for you based on the location of the trucks that are available on the board. So we'll help match things so that way you're not looking.
Awesome. Wow, that's great. Um, the moving industry can be complicated. Everything can be a different size, different weight. I mean, there's a lot of variables. I got a chance to do a little bit of that, so I know what you mean about the van lines. So yeah, I also got a chance to go on your website, check out the Movers Dispatch board. It's super easy to navigate through. I mean, um, and it makes it real easy for moving companies, carriers, and brokers. Um, so yeah, how does it work for brokers?
So for moving brokers, how it works. So in the moving and storage industry, moving brokers are just booking moving jobs. Basically, they don't have any trucks. They're doing nothing other than just the sales portion of the order, and then they are brokering it out completely to a moving company to do the transport. So with a broker subscription for loads that they're booking, they can post them on the board, and then moving companies who are looking for brokered loads can go on there and take a look for them as well. So we have opportunities for moving brokers to post their loads. Um, the moving and storage industry is very tricky one, kind of like what you had mentioned earlier, because every load is different, every destination is different. So when you're dispatching loads, having the solution of being able to interline loads is very helpful because not all of your clients are going to the same city and state. They all have different delivery dates. They're not all going to be available and ready to receive. Someone may not be receiving their, keys to their apartment or their house for 2 weeks. It may need to be stored. So everything is just, there's so many variables. So with Movers Dispatch Board, that really kind of helps solve a big problem with getting shipments that are less than truckload delivered and interlined, and then also helps, movers find loads so when they're backhauling, they're not backhauling empty.
It really helps niche the industry. Yeah, fills in those
Very
gaps.
tart, yeah, absolutely. It was designed, so when I designed Movers Dispatch Board, I really designed it for moving companies. I designed it with the mindset knowing who my client base is because I've been in this industry for a while. I know that the drivers and the users that are going to use our load board are not going to want to spend hours of training. So the platform is very easy to use. It doesn't require a lot of watching, hours of videos or trying to figure things out. It's pretty simple. We've got a pretty good how-to content video library with really anything almost that you could do on the load board. So it's super easy. Videos are just a couple of minutes long if you're trying to figure out how to, navigate through it.
Nice. And you guys hit quite a few subscribers. How many subscribers you just hit?
So, from the day that we released, we've onboarded over 800 companies. Currently, we have 600 active subscribers, probably a little over 600 by just a couple. But as of Friday, we had hit like 602 subscribers, which is really awesome. So we're real proud of that. I think with that, for me, it just kind of proves that there is a need for the product. It's obviously 600 or over 800 people have actually taken the time to go on there and actually register. So definitely there is a need. So that makes me really happy.
That's great, especially with some of the challenges you probably faced when you first started out. What was some of the hurdles that you had to overcome?
Well, there's a lot of hurdles, honestly. And when you're kind of building a marketplace, a load board, for it to really be successful, there's a few things. You've got to have a lot of users on there. So getting, having you need to onboard as many people as you can. So obviously that's the biggest challenge is, getting the name out there, getting people to recognize, what we're selling and then what we're trying to get them to sign up for. So, that was a big challenge. And then the other challenge is getting everyone to, put their posts on there, put their loads on there because you don't want them to get on there and then not find loads. So that's kind of the biggest, because it's like if you were to get onto eBay or to certain marketplaces and you're looking for something, but you can't find anything, then it's not really very useful. So I think that's like our biggest challenge is getting people to trust and putting loads out there. And then obviously there comes in issues with like, okay, trusting the carriers who are on there, trusting that they're going to pay, so comes service quality, that's a big concern that a lot of movers who have loads that want to post loads on there is, okay, well, we don't want to put loads on there if we're going to know that, XYZ trucking company is going to do a bad job,
Okay.
So there's a lot of challenges, but we kind of overcome each hurdle as one comes up or one appears, and we kind of tweak and develop based on what we believe our clients are really looking for.
So how would you handle that particular situation? I mean, you got XYZ that just keeps posting it, but they're not doing a great job. How do you handle that delicate situation?
So as far as our responsibility as a load board is to make sure that, our subscribers are licensed movers, that they're licensed with FMCSA. That's the biggest challenge as far as, um, making sure that that they are licensed. We typically don't get involved in the service quality because then we become the mediator at that point. So that becomes kind of sticky. We haven't really had to deal with a situation like that yet. So I haven't, you know, there's always two sides to every story. So for us to be the mediator, it'd be really hard for us to mediate that. But the cool thing on our load board is that you are able to leave reviews based on your experience with a particular carrier or a company. So for example, if you post a load and I accept your load, we're both able to review each other after load's complete. So eventually someone's star rating will affect whether people are wanting to work with them or not. So that's kind of how we handle that. But as far as like mitigating or kind of being the mediator of like, you should have done this or you should have done that, we try to stay off that because that's really, we're a software developer, not, mediation company to kind of resolve situations like that. We do though, if we know someone's not licensed, we will boot them off the platform. So if you're not licensed, I've had conversations with people who said, okay, well, I'm working on my licensing. I'm like, okay, well, don't go active. Just get your licensing in order and then get on because no one's really going to issue loads and you're not going to be able to perform loads. So we're, only looking for active licensed
That's
movers.
great. I like it because reviews are important. Sometimes people don't think they're important. Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. So when you go to a business, their experience, the customer services that you receive from them, it matters. Um, let's see here. Can you also share a moment when you doubted your path or how you pushed through it? Your journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, it's I would say it's definitely something that happens, doubting what you're doing and doubting what you're building. And that happens on a regular basis. But typically when I look at situations or times where I am doubting myself, I look at like, okay, what have I done? Why am I doubting myself? What am I, what is the cause of that? So is there something that isn't performing right? And if it's not performing right, what am I going to do to change it? Because if you're not willing to change and adapt to change, then that's when you're going to fail. So I think failure is kind of that thing where it's just kind of giving up. And I'm not the type that gives up. So I'm more of the type that says, okay, I'm not doing what I want right now. So am I going to continue doing the same thing over and over again? Or I'm going to look at what am I doing and why is it not succeeding? What do I need to change to make it, perform or turn revenue or, you know, let me see the results that I'm wanting to see. So I think that's the biggest thing. But doubting, with doubt happens all the time. You kind of doubt, oh, should I have done this? Or is this feature working the way I wanted it to? Or what are my users really looking for? How am I really going to find out what they want? So always changing. So evolving. You're always having to evolve and change because if you're not changing and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's just crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So many people do it though. I mean,
Yeah, it happens all the time.
yeah. I'm sure you see.
But like, if you're an athlete and you're not getting the results that you want, you kind of look at what you're doing. Okay, do I need to run faster? Is it my diet? Am I not getting enough rest? Or what do I need to do to change? You're an entrepreneur, you're setting up a business and your business isn't performing the way you want it. What is it? Is it the market? Is it what you're offering? Is it your pricing? I mean, you have to kind of really look at everything and figure out, and sometimes it's really tricky, it's not, just black and white, simple, here's what you're doing wrong. Sometimes it's a lot of tweaking and a lot of changes. So
I'm thinking that, also dealing with a male dominated industry, there's probably some hurdles you've addressed there too. Or maybe it's gotten better. What's been your observation or your experience with that?
yeah, it's funny because I always get that. I've been asked that question a lot. And so I think for me, the whole male dominated, and I've been in it for so long. Do I really feel threatened by men? No. So for me, it's kind of funny because that, yes, it is a male dominated industry. And yes, there are male, more truckers that are men and dispatchers that are men, but there's quite a bit of women in the industry as well. And so, I think my confidence when I know what I'm doing and I'm confident in what, product and service I'm delivering. So whether I'm male or female, like I don't really feel threatened by men whatsoever. So
So, yeah, more of an ally. I like it. Yeah,
yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, I get along with men all the time. So I've never, and I've had certain situations where I have had, someone say something, but I more kind of look at it and laugh at it, To me, it's kind of funny. I'm not the type that's gonna, go home and start crying because someone said something, but I think that once people know what I'm capable of, then they kind of just, hey, I'm impressed by this person versus I don't look at it as negative at all. So
Nice. Breaking barriers for others to feel welcome in the industry. I think that's huge. I listened to some of the your podcasts that you had out there already, so I had to jump on the bandwagon and ask the same question.
thank you. Yeah.
Oh man! So, what role has perseverance played in shaping the journey? Personally and professionally. What challenges that you see the perseverance has been a key factor for you?
I think for me that I'm always pushing and I don't accept failure. I think that always pushing to do the best that I can and accepting that sometimes there are little failures here and there, and sometimes there's bigger failures than others, but knowing that I can overcome them and knowing and believing in what I'm capable of, I think that's the biggest thing that kind of keeps me going all the time is that okay, I've been in business for, I've owned a company for 21 years. That speaks a lot for itself right there in an industry that's very difficult. And then, with Movers Dispatch Board, I kind of look at my numbers as far as numbers of subscribers and, starting up a subscription based business, load board model, and being able to onboard this many people in such a short period of time. It says a lot. And I think for me, I kind of look at those successes and I've had a lot of, minor fails in both companies, but those are I, look at the positive and I look at what have I done that I can be, proud of and motivate myself to keep going and keep pushing. And those are really the kind of things that I look at.
Nice. From a leadership standpoint and lessons learned, leadership can be a lonely road. Um, how have you stayed motivated to inspire as a CEO over the years? What helped motivate you?
Well, I think for me with motivation, it's just a thing that's just it's kind of goes up and down. There's days that I'm motivated more than others. And there's, that's just human. Like I think if someone said that they woke up and felt like David Goggins every day, and felt like they were, could run miles every day. I mean, there's days you wake up and you just don't have the motivation. And there's days that you're more motivated. But certain peaks in my career will motivate me and push me to push even harder. And those are the kind of the moments that I kind of live by. I think that having a place where you write your goals or having set goals, for example, like I will have monthly goals for myself as far as for 2024, as far as number of subscribers, I wanted to end the year with 600 subscribers. And the funny thing is, on New Year's Eve, I logged in And I was at the dinner table with my friends and I had 599 and my goal was 600. And I told everyone, I said, my goal was 600 and I'm at 599. And they're like, oh my gosh, one of us will subscribe. And I said, absolutely do not subscribe. Like, if you subscribe, I will not be happy because that would be a fake. That would be fake, So don't subscribe. I was one away from my goal of hitting 600 for the year. And I didn't hit it. I lost, I didn't make it by one, but that was okay because I felt like it was still, I was really pretty much there. But having goals, monthly goals is really important. I had a conversation with someone about having goals, and I thought it was kind of funny. Like, should I have goals? But everyone should always have goals. Like, you should always have your goals, and your goals should not just be, oh, okay, I want to, make $1 million this year, okay, or whatever your goal is. It may be whatever you want to, whether it be a personal or financial or but you have to think about how are you going to get to that goal? Not just write a goal. I mean, it's great. We can all write, I want 5 Ferraris or I want 1 Ferrari. I mean, that's not a goal of mine, but how are you going to achieve it? And what's the roadmap to getting there? I think that's the key thing is that having a set roadmap to your goal versus just having a random, I'm just going to have this goal, but how are you going to achieve it? And so for me, I had monthly goals on what we would achieve as far as subscribers and how are we going to get there? How many new prospects were we going to target? How many people were we going to reach out to make those goals happen? And so I think that's the biggest thing is just kind of having like, really a roadmap to achieving your goals, a how to, and then going through with them.
And when you see that you can map that out, it looks more realistic versus it being just a visionary dream. I like that.
Right. We can all dream. I mean, we all have dreams. We all have dreams of, I want this or I want that, whether it be a material thing or something that you want to accomplish. But having the roadmap is the key to achieving success. Is like what are you going to do every day? Every day, are you going to reach out to 10 clients to get that? Are you going to reach out to 20? Like, what is your roadmap to success? And that's the biggest key is like for me is that having that roadmap to how I'm going to achieve my goal.
Right. Right. And that's what I like a lot of times drives people because they can see the light at the end of the tunnel and they know they're getting closer. So yeah, I mean, that's huge. I think that's big for a lot of people to focus on. That's probably what a business plan is.
Absolutely.
See that you have a roadmap. That's great. You want to start a business, but how are you going to get there? Now spell it out for us, and we can see that you've put some work in, and we see you're motivated. So we'll go out on a limb for you. We'll take a risk. That's huge. Understanding that and applying it for yourself internally, not just for financial gain, but also for yourself internally, so that you reach those goals and you feel satisfied within yourself and your journey in life. I think that's huge. Man, I love that you spelled that out for the listeners, help them to see that, not because you need to really focus on where you're at right now, but you can think about where you want to be in 5 or 10 years. Did you ever see yourself where you are today?
I saw myself as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, but I didn't know what I would be doing. That's the funny thing is that I knew I would eventually be a business owner, just kind of watching my family. But I didn't know what industry it would be in. I didn't really know I would be in trucking. I just knew that I would eventually own a business, not really knowing what it would be. And I think it all started because I love sales. And part of being an entrepreneur is like loving to talk to people, loving to communicate, loving to, listen to what your client needs and how you're going to take care of them. And so I'm a people person. And so sales was naturally just my passion. If I tell everyone every day, like, what is your favorite thing that you would be doing? And that would be talking to people, listening to their problems, solving their problems, and just selling. And more of a consultative selling versus a, pushy. Everyone wants to use the stigma of a car salesman, but
Yeah.
that could be fun too.
Yeah, it
I'm
can
a
be.
car person. Yeah, I'm a car
How you
person.
do it?
If I sold cars, I'd probably be the number one salesperson selling cars because I love cars. So,
Uh,
but I think
and
that's,
what's your
that's
favorite
really
car so
kind
far?
of my favorite car.
Yeah.
So my favorite car that I had was I had a 2019 wait, was it a 2000? Yeah, it was a 2019 Range Rover SVR V8. It has a twin turbo in it. The thing started I mean it drove so beautiful. You turn that thing on and you just heard the engine just rumble, and it was funny because every time I started that car, I would just have anyone that was around to just be like, wow. Because you didn't, it's basically a sports car, and an SUV is like over 500 horsepower. I think it was like 518 horsepower, 520, somewhere around that.
Right.
And just beautiful. I just drove insane. And I recently traded it in for something not as fast, but comfort, more of a comfort. But that's my favorite car out of all the cars that I've driven.
Yeah. Nice. Man, I know some people that have Range Rovers and they enjoy them too. They want to buy more.
Yeah, I
I'm stuck
I've
on those.
driven several. I
Yeah.
went to the Defender this time. This time around, I went with the Defender, more of a kind of a rugged off-road look.
Yeah.
But the last one was, they're redoing their SVR. There's a new model that they're going through right now. I think they come out in another year or something. So
I see
we'll
some,
see.
I see some more dreams and pipeline work there going.
Yeah,
Get to the reach your goals on that one.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a Mustang guy. I love Mustangs right now. I wish
No, I love. Are you in the older or the new Mustangs?
I'll take them all.
Yeah, I like Mustangs too.
That's all that's in my feed. It's a lot of Mustangs.
I love that.
Yeah. So, man, so that's great because, doing what you do, you can reach those personal goals and have those enjoyments and those passions in your time away from work. Yeah, that hearing that engine start up, that I can resonate with that. It's a really cool feeling.
I know it's the funny thing is the one that I have right now. When you turn it on, it's just like it just turns on. I'm like, oh, I need some sound effect. I will eventually probably go back to something with some noise because this is too quiet. Some of this electric stuff is just not for me.
You're not feeling it?
No, no, I'm not feeling it. I like to hear the engine come on. I'm like,
Yeah.
is my car on or not? I can't really tell.
I got in a Volkswagen. I think my sister-in-law had a Volkswagen, and then just you hit the button and it said welcome. And I was like, man, is it on? What is this? What? I need to hear something.
It's confusing. It's confusing when you get in a car and you're used to hearing the engine purr and turn on, and then you get into a car and then you turn it on. You're like, wait a minute, is it on or off? Did it come on? And you're pushing the button again. So
Oh man.
so I love the technology of the Tesla, right? It's like, it's insane. I have friends that have them, and yes, they're nice. And I like the fact that it can help you drive home and all of that stuff. But there's just something about they need to add some sound effect. Maybe that's the next thing Elon should do is add some noise to it when you turn it on.
Hey, giving him ideas. Yeah,
I
he'll
know.
work on
Elon, if you hear me.
it. Yeah, he's starting his own city or something, own town or something for SpaceX so that everybody can work there and just live in that one town and make it happen. Yeah, I don't know. He's got big plans. So yeah, 2025.
Definitely a visionary right there.
Yeah. Oh man. So looking ahead, so as far as your visionary, you're making moves here with Movers Dispatch Board. How do you see it moving in the future for the next 5 to 10 years? With that to adapt to the industry. I know trucking is kind of in a little slowdown, or maybe it's not for the moving industry. What would
Oh
you say?
no, definitely. It's definitely a slowdown for the moving and industry. The moving industry has really struggled this year with business, the how we kind of mirror the housing market. So whatever housing's doing, obviously with like the high interest rates, people really aren't buying and moving right now unless they absolutely have to. So definitely the moving and storage industry has seen a big hit this year, or for 2024, they did. Probably one of the slowest years I've seen in business. besides when we were going through the recession, it's definitely been not one of the best years that we've had. But I think that obviously, like, it's going to turn. Everything that goes down is going to come back up. I can't imagine it getting any worse. So I do see that. I think that 2025 will definitely be a much better year. So we'll see how that goes. Um, as far as what I see for Movers Dispatch Board, I think our next goal here is we do want to expand into Canada for 2025. So the Canadian market will be an expansion for us. We've had a lot of movers reach out from Canada. So being software, we're really not limited to any region. So expansion into the Canadian market. We are releasing our app this quarter. Currently, we're just web-based. We don't have a mobile app to download, but we are releasing a mobile app to download. We believe that that will really kind of help with our user base. And as a lot of drivers are over the road and stuff, it'll be a lot easier to navigate on an iPhone or Android. So that's our next big thing. And then we're really kind of working on partnerships with other CRMs that are out there for the moving and storage industry. So we're really looking for partnerships with anyone out there who's in the moving and storage CRM. So
Wow. Is
if
that
you're
like,
listening,
yeah,
reach out. We'd
Salesforce?
like to integrate. Yeah.
Yeah, Salesforce. They do a lot. Let's see what else is out there, like HubSpot or anything like that.
So with like yeah, similar to like HubSpot, Salesforce, all of that, there are a bunch of CRMs out there that are built for the moving and storage industry. So those are kind of the ones that we're looking for that have a big user base or um, that are moving companies.
Right, right. Nothing like someone that can keep a platform that can keep it all organized, save a lot of that back and forth to different systems, and we can get it all done in one spot. I mean, that's huge. That saves a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at, a lot of very successful, whether it be like Pipedrive, HubSpot, Salesforce. I mean, their big model is working on integrations with other platforms to kind of expand the tools that they're offering their subscribers. And that's kind of what we were really looking for is building Movers Dispatch Board with a similar mindset of partnerships. So we're really looking for partnerships out there.
Nice. Um, let's see. And so you have that going. You got you got a lot. Your future looks pretty bright. I like the way you're moving through and you're adapting. I think good things are going to happen. I feel really strong about how things are changing. And I see good things happening for you guys. So I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
hmm your story is powerful. It's a reminder of how innovation, grit, and vision can create a meaningful change. Also, the things that our parents do for us, the impression that they leave upon us, I think that's huge. Growing up in the family of entrepreneurs, I think that really helps as well. So if anyone else is out there that's entrepreneur, a visionary for their family, and they see their young ones growing up in that industry or that profession, keep pushing forward. You never know what lies in the future for young ones too. I think they have a big, how would you say it? They can absorb everything around them, right? So just keep putting them in those environments, and they'll see the benefits of it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm inspired by your story and your journey. I know our listeners will be too. I trust that some of the takeaways that we have is trust and efficiency are at the heart of Movers Dispatch Board for their success with features like escrow and seamless integrations. Maybe we didn't touch on the escrow. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with escrow, we tied in our APIs with escrow.com. So the solution that they offer is a secure payment um, situation with between two users. So, for example, if you're hauling for me and you want to ensure that you're going to get paid, so we put your the dollar amount that we're supposed to be paying you in an escrow account through escrow.com. And once the deliveries are completed, escrow.com releases those funds to you. So basically, the funds are held through escrow until service is completed. Once service is completed and verified, the funds are released to you.
Oh, so
That
you
just
really do
ensures that
insurance.
that ensures payments are being made to the carriers hauling and vice versa. If, the transporter owes the company posting the load money, that their funds are, held secure.
I like that.
Yeah, versus like a net. So we leave it up to the user to decide whether they want to use that feature or not. It's not a requirement to use that feature. So if they're wanting to do net, or if they're wanting to do any other way to pay each other, that's completely up to the people transacting on the site. Basically, all we did is just give them the resource to do so if they wanted to.
Oh, I see. I
It's
like.
optional.
Yeah, okay. So how can they get in touch with you guys? So you got Movers Dispatch Board website. You have
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, on our website, they can reach out. Also, I am on LinkedIn. So if anyone's trying, I would love some connections on LinkedIn. I always like to kind of expand my connections and network, whether it's I can work with you directly in the future or not, it doesn't really matter. So, but if you'd like to reach out to me, I am on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out to me there and DM if you're wanting to reach out directly. Otherwise, just, reach out to us on info@moversdispatchboard.com for any, inquiries or questions or anything.
nice. Like you're on YouTube too. You have quite a few podcast appearances on YouTube.
Yeah, I've done several, different interviews. I've got several actually set for this month as well. I try to, put a lot of engagement out there and a lot of content for people to kind of be familiar with, who I am, my story, and what I'm trying to build as far as Movers Dispatch Board. I feel like the more I'm out there letting people know that we're a real company. It's funny because I had one gentleman who saw me on a show and said, "Hey, I thought at first that y'all were fake, and then I saw your content and stuff, and then kind of had built more trust out there." I guess they were worried that the site was like an offshore site somewhere, a random. I'm not really sure what they were thinking, but he said, "But you're actually real," and I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So
And that's sad. The scammers are working people so hard that you don't
I
even know
guess.
what's what.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, no, we're real. We're US based.
Oh man. Wow. So that's good. Good news. And you're expanding into different countries. And that's great. Um, so I look forward to seeing what happens. We'll keep an eye out for what happens with Movers Dispatch Board. So and that is one of the household good transportation sector. I think it's gonna change over time. Like you said, with the interest rates changing, that's gonna help out a lot as well. So we'll keep rooting for that. And I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking with us today. And I got nothing but good things to say about from all the things that you've been able to share. So yeah, keep going, keep pushing forward. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
and if you got for our listeners, if you like what you hear, you can leave a review. You can also reach out to us on all the platforms. We'll be glad to hear from you. You can like or subscribe. Again, this is your go-to guy, Trucking Ray, and we wish you guys all the best out there. Stay safe and also keep moving.
Are you a trucker looking for a safe and reliable place to park? Look no further than Truck Parking Club. With locations across the country, we've got the perfect spot waiting for you, whether it's daily or long-term parking. And right now, use promo code DELIVERED at checkout for an exclusive discount. Reserve your spot today at truckparkingclub.com and drive stress-free, knowing your parking is covered.